Hi friends, thank you for joining us for the first episode of Season 2 of Hello APGD, a neighborhood podcast about the Audubon Park Garden District in Orlando, Florida. I'm your host, Michael Lothrop, and today we'll be speaking with Jenna of Stardust Video Coffee, as well as the director of Grandma Party Bazaar, which will be in Stardust parking lot Sunday, December 11th. For more info, visit them online on Facebook or Instagram at grandma_party, or check out their website at gmabazaar.wixsite.com. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, or if you'd like to be a sponsor, please feel free to message me on Instagram at HelloAPGDPod. Thank you for listening. This episode is brought to you in part by Trevor Brown, Audubon Park resident and trusted Central Florida realtor with Fannie Hillman and Associates, proudly serving their clients for over 40 years. For listings, market trends, helpful home buyer and seller tips, email directly to trevor@fanniehillman.com or find him on Instagram at Trevor Brown Realtor. And with me today is Jenna, art educator, jewelry and mixed media artist, Stardust baker and bartender, and the director of Grandma Party Bazaar. Welcome, Jenna.
Hi, thank you.
Yes, absolutely. So that's quite a list of things that you do. Did I miss anything? I feel like there's something in there that I didn't capture.
Probably. I do a little bit of a lot of things.
You do.
Yeah.
You do indeed. So 20th Grandma Party is coming up.
Yeah.
December 11th. It's from 10 a.m. to 5:30. Mm-hmm. It's not just for grandmas.
No, but grandmas are welcome.
Grandmas are welcome. And there will be some grandma vendors perhaps too. Maybe?
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
So tell me, what is Grandma Party to you?
It's one of the best days of the year.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite day of the year. A lot of stress leading up to this day, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
It is just a great time to get together with your friends and drink and listen to music and shop local artists and be merry. It's just such a great day.
It is. It's my favorite day of December consistently. I mean, I don't know that I've been to all 20 of the grandma parties. I know initially it kind of started as more of like I saw an article that described it as like a hippie flea market.
Yeah.
It's very much about celebrating local artists. Mm-hmm. And it really is, it's a curated event, and each of the vendors is like top notch at what they do. And it is it's always such a great place to get gifts for yourself and for, the holidays. Yeah. And it's such a good time. Live music, DJs, food. And it's kind of blossomed into this whole neighborhood thing. It
really has grown up quite a bit.
Yeah. So when you started as director, was that about a decade ago at this point?
Well, I looked it up today.
Yeah.
Because my brain doesn't retain dates very well.
I'm the same way.
And I believe, according to my records, I took it over in 2015. Okay. So I have been the curator, organizer, logistics person, grandma since then.
Yes. Queen Grandma.
Yeah.
Is that a title?
It can be.
It should be. What do you prefer?
I just like grandma.
Yeah.
It feels right.
Yeah. And sometimes you wear the grandma costume, which is a paper mache.
Oh man.
It's such a sight to behold.
It really is. And she is on her very last legs.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I was actually, she can't really be worn anymore. Mm-hmm. She's a little bit fallen apart.
She's more of a prop at this point.
Yeah. I thought about having a kind of very macabre grandma party one year of like, we're so sorry grandma died.
Yeah.
And like do a walking. Oh, I had so many ideas. It was really bad. And then COVID happened. I was like, that's not very timely.
Too on the nose, right? It's too much.
Yeah. So she's just hanging out in my garage.
Good. Well, I hope that she makes an appearance. I'm just so excited. How are you feeling about this year's grandma party? Is there anything new that you are looking forward to?
Well, it's getting really close to it. Mm-hmm. We're coming up on 2-week mark, and normally I feel a lot more prepared than this, but
Sure.
I've been fairly housebound because of a broken bone thing.
Yeah.
So my anxiety is amped a bit, but I know it's going to be great. It always is. I always worry that people aren't going to come, and they always do.
They always do.
They always do.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful. I'm really excited about it. And what I'm really excited about the vendors, I actually got a message from a friend who's like, hey, I've been seeing all the new vendor postings on Instagram, and I'm really excited. Looks like you have a great selection of vendors this year, and that made me really happy. I've made a very concerted effort to bring in new people, because every year we get more and more applications, and I hate saying no to people. I just do. But we only have so much room.
And you start that process early in the year. It's
July.
July, right? Mm-hmm. That's wild. Yeah. And just to make sure that they're vetted, you know, that they want to do it.
Well, and also that they have enough product. Like, sure, you can make wonderful things and be a great artist, but if you only have like a handful of things, you're either going to sell out by 11:30 or...
Yeah. And has that happened with some vendors that they were kind of surprised at how quickly they sold out?
Yeah, I had one vendor and she's a wonderful jewelry artist, and she was a vendor one year, and she messaged me. She's like, I didn't make enough stuff. She's like, I sold out way too early. I was like, well, I'm so glad you sold out. That's amazing.
Yeah.
She goes, yeah, but there were so many people, and I just wasn't thinking.
Yeah.
I was like, it's all right. Next time, bud.
Yeah, and I think that now people that have attended it and kind of know its reputation, they will be prepared with enough product, because it's people show up to shop.
Yeah, they do.
And even with the expansion of like Pop Swap, and I know Red Light is doing kind of a market as well, it becomes really a neighborhood-wide event.
Yep.
Which is perfect, because a lot of people will be parking at the school and walking over, so they can kind of hit up the plazas and then come over to Stardust. And parking around Stardust is a little tricky, so we're very grateful for the school and what they provide, that access. And it buzzes with life and creativity and positivity, and it really is kind of that holiday tradition that Audubon Park like thrives on. And
it's such a fun day.
It really is so much fun, and how the businesses have sort of seen that and, you know, responded accordingly in organizing their own like plaza events.
Well, it makes sense to, you know, capitalize on the traffic.
Right.
I understand.
Yeah.
Why people would do that.
And it doesn't really negatively impact the shoppers or, you know, the sales that go on at Grandma Party itself.
No, it doesn't. And my first year as Grandma Party, as Grandma, that was their first year setting up. And I was panicked. I was like, oh my God, no one's going to know that this is here, that Grandma Party is here. And it was fine. Of course, it's always fine.
Yeah.
But, you know, at first I was freaked out about it, but I was like, of course it makes sense to capitalize on the foot traffic that comes in for the event. And we want all the businesses to do well and be successful. So absolutely set up. And we, you know, if we cross promote, it's great. And they're reaching people that I may not be reaching with advertising. So it all works out, and it's wonderful.
Yeah. There's enough vendors to go around. There's enough
there
customers to go around. Yeah, like more than enough. And it's a nice consolation, you know, for those that don't get selected for Grandma Parties, that they may have an opportunity to still vend in the neighborhood. And so there's, I know Nigel is going to be DJing. It's always a great time, and Preston as well. Tell me about some of the music this year.
I kind of voluntold them to do that
I mean, they're like honorary DJs. Like they kind of have to do a set here.
I love them.
Yeah. It wouldn't be the same without them. And they still live here, and why not?
Yeah.
That's great.
Friends helping friends.
I know. It's what we do. It's what we do best, and it's how everything kind of gets done. So I was going to ask about some of the music. I wasn't familiar with some of the band names, but...
So we have a handful of bands playing this year. We have a solo artist, Goose Hands, mostly
That's
like...
a great name.
Yeah. Guitar, singing, harmonica, and then we have a couple of other bands. We have Someday River.
That's right.
And I've actually seen them playing around lately. They're really nice.
They're awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like
really sweet dudes, too.
Yeah. And Really Fast Horses. They're a new one. They are definitely going to bring more of that like punk vibe, which is very classic Grandma Party.
Yeah.
And then Super Passive, who played last year, and they were very, very popular.
I remember them.
Everyone loved them.
That's awesome. And we should also mention that Alchemy is going to be here doing haircuts.
Oh, yeah. They're going to set up a tent, and they're going to have dry cuts.
That's awesome.
Happening, yeah.
Everybody loves a parking lot haircut. You know,
yeah.
It's a good time to do that, and you don't always have time to go to Alchemy, so you can get a couple things done in one time here.
And it's really cost effective.
Yeah, it's right. They have kind of discount prices.
It's a discounted cut. It's awesome.
Yeah. If it's in the parking lot, you're not in a salon. And,
right. Well, you're not getting your hair washed. It's like, brushing, cutting, product, boom.
Yeah, I might have to get in on that.
Yeah.
I'm due. And I saw you actually, speaking of Alchemy, you were at Hot in the City, the last two craft markets there. And you were selling art and jewelry?
My friend Molly White and I, we have started an art collaborative. She's a potter, and I make jewelry and do some metalsmithing and other random stuff. And we have so many amazing artist friends. Mm-hmm. We just wanted to provide a space to get everybody together and sell their stuff at local markets, and we're building a website. It's really hard to sell on Etsy now as an artist and other sites like that, because
why is that?
It's so saturated, and it's not really focused on being a handmade marketplace anymore. So it's really hard to be seen unless you are paying for advertising. And, our goal is to just showcase really unique artists that we know. And with my connection with Grandma Party as being the curator, like, I am going to be reaching out to my art community that I know. I'm like, hey, let's get together. Let's sell stuff.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
It's all in the spirit of the original Grandma Party, which was people getting together to sell stuff that they made and make stuff.
Yeah. And so the origins of Grandma Party, like the name obviously throws a lot of people.
Yeah, I get that question every year.
Yeah.
Okay. So, so it started in the early 2000s. It used to be like twice a year, I think. So we're not totally caught up on dates, but this is the 20th event. So, to my knowledge. And it started with J.T. Altman. He was the original grandma. And then he passed that on to Casey Zott. And then she passed that on to Christina Cam and Ashley Bellinger. And then I took it over in 2015. And it has steadily grown since then. I think the name is original to the event. And here's what I was told, because I was asking Christina when I took over Grandma Reigns.
Yeah.
I said, hey, so just fill me in. Where did this name come from? Because I had been approached by Wesh News to do an advertising thing for the event. I was like, yeah, this is going to be great. Yeah. Because it's going to reach people that I'm not reaching. And everyone's going to know about Grandma Party. And then I was asking Christina about just details and the name, and she told me the story. I was like, fuck, I can't say that on the news. And so I had to just fudge it. But the story about the name is, so Grandma was a code for weed.
Okay.
And so, like, people would be like, hey, did you pick up Grandma? Go get Grandma. And we're going to make stuff. And we'll just, get together. And so, yeah, Grandma was a code for weed.
Yeah.
Because whatever strain it was had, purple hairs and shit. But, so, Grandma Party was named after marijuana.
And that was back when it was highly illegal, as opposed to now, where it's just kind of a lot more casual.
Yeah.
But that's pretty good code word, because I feel like nobody would catch on to that.
That's so cute. I loved it.
Yeah, if anybody was listening or checking texts and such, they would just think that somebody really loved their grandma, and their friends do too.
And that's what I said on the news at 7 a.m.
How did they react to that?
Like, oh, that's so nice. I'm like, I know. So Nice. We love our grandmas.
Well, it's a good kind of party. And so it's evolved into this whole other thing that's not about that
Right.
per
But
se.
we have adopted this, icon, this mascot of sorts. And so grandma is the thing.
Yeah, I think it's so fun. And just like the branding that, what you do with advertising and things like that, it looks great and it's so unique. And I feel like in doing research and things like Googling Grandma Party, there weren't a lot of other hits anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is kind of the only grandma party that's out there in the world.
Well, I mean, you could accidentally stumble on some stuff on the internet that is questionable.
That's true. Yeah.
And
yeah.
quite adventuresome.
So don't search at work, maybe just
not.
in case. Yeah.
But here's the thing, add bazaar at the end.
Oh, yes.
Grandma Party Bazaar.
That's
then
right.
you are good to go.
That's such
Artists,
key advice.
makers, boom, that's what comes out. It's awesome. That's the key.
Yes, yes. And what makes it a bazaar is that it's this market that is really locally run and it's very eclectic, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
But it's such a celebration. So tell me about your art education, the things that you've been involved with.
Oh gosh. I've been an artist most of my life. It's taken a long time to claim that.
Sure.
Because, artists have imposter syndrome big time.
Yes. That's how you know you're an artist.
I guess.
think. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the criteria.
Yeah. But I've always done some form of art, always. And I'm obsessive when it comes to art mediums. I'll try something new and then I fall in love with it and I just go hard on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very familiar with a lot of art mediums, and if I'm not making something with my hands, I'm like, I feel useless, I guess, or it just like helps quiet my brain.
Mm-hmm.
So I've just always loved making things, and I also love kids, so I've worked with kids a lot. Started out babysitting and then working in preschool, and so I've done education in some form for a long time. So I recently was an art teacher for Orange County.
Which school was it again?
Lake Whitney in Winter Garden.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a good school.
That's awesome.
Yeah, the kids were awesome. I loved them.
Yeah, and you were also doing that during a pandemic.
Oh.
Very weird times, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was a struggle.
I bet.
Well, because I'd taken a break from education for a long time, and I'm not the most tech-savvy person.
Sure.
And so my first year back into a public school setting, it was a hybrid learning situation. So I was having to navigate this homeschool hybrid beast technology with also being in a classroom with a handful of kids that kept growing and growing. So it was really an adventure.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to get to know somebody personally without with all of that space in between of you and with the technology kind of barrier. Yeah, like without at least some face-to-face time, it's hard to get a sense about somebody. And I can't imagine, being a child in that situation too. I mean, I feel for all the kids that were in school during that time. Like,
also, the supplies are limited. The things, the activities and projects I could do with them were very limited. I was really reaching the corners of my brain to think of what I could do with like what they might have at home. And I would send home supply lists. I'm like, hey, this is what we're doing, and let's get excited, and boom, boom, let's get some of these supplies in order. And they weren't crazy supplies, but always some kids had them, and most kids don't. So you always have to have a backup plan.
And that changes the experience completely.
It really does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that it's unfair. It's very limiting. It's just all of the things that are unfortunate about that setup, right? And I think there must be just this excitement. I mean, I remember being in art class growing up too, of just like the supplies and like grabbing the things that you needed, and just the energy involved with that, and making art among your peers is incredible. And I understand that you're doing some of that now outside of the classroom setting, but you're doing kind of private classes and things?
Yeah, so I have been teaching homeschool art classes. Kids Create Art, which is a little loft space in it's like old school downtown Windermere, and yeah, it's great. Have a group of homeschool kids, and we focus a lot on contemporary artists, and we work through the basic elements and principles of art while exploring their art and getting inspiration from them. And what's great about using contemporary artists is that a lot of them will reply back to us, so they see the work that our kids do, and the kids get to have this very interactive experience with a real life artist who is, living, breathing, making work, and they see the work that they're doing, and it's just really exciting for them, and it's a nice thing to be a part of.
I understand there's another organization in Winter Park that you've done classes at as well.
Yeah, so I've done one little class at Creative Jane. They are a local art studio that primarily focuses on children, and they have like preschool art classes, and they do a lot of art summer camps and even after school camps. And I really was only with them for a minute, and then I broke my foot. But it's a really nice space.
And what story do you go with now when people ask you how you broke your foot?
Well, I have a problem with being a believable liar. Mm-hmm. So I am always just like, ugh, so dumb. Uh-huh. And I have no cool stories. So I really did. I took a poll on social media. I was like, hey, I'm taking applications for a really cool story on how I broke my foot. Uh-huh. And they were so fun.
What were some of your favorites?
One of them was, you ran into your not favorite politician and got into it and did a round-off kick to the face. I was like, oh, okay, nice, okay. I wouldn't do that, but I like it.
Yeah.
And then another one was you were on the beach and you were doing a treasure hunt and you found this big gold chest filled with pearls and stuff, but you kicked it with your foot or something. I don't know. It was very fantastical, and there was a lot of MMA fighting.
Mm-hmm.
And
naturally.
Then, yeah. I'm having a hard time recalling, but there were some good ones.
Yeah.
Oh, my favorite one though, was you stuck your big toe up your husband's butt because you thought it would be a good cure for the hiccups. It's my number one favorite one. And it's
How did Doug feel about that one?
I mean, he's like, okay, yeah. Uh-huh. Sure.
It's a good story. Yeah. I mean, it really takes the focus off of any mishap that might have actually happened, mm-hmm. right?
Yeah.
And what is that real story, if you want to share it?
Oh, I was at my house, and I wasn't paying attention. I have I have a sunken living room. So I got some strawberries. They were good, but they weren't that worth it.
Yeah.
And I wasn't paying attention, and I missed a step.
Wow.
Yeah, so stupid. I was completely sober, too, which, I have no excuse other than just being a total ding-dong.
Yeah. The similar thing happened to a friend of mine. I think I was telling you about that, and she and her husband just bought their house, and they have steps, and just misjudged it, was in a hurry. It's like these things. I don't know. I think that 2020 kind of scrambled all of our brains.
Oh, yeah.
And we're all kind of navigating how to be a person again. Mm-hmm. I know I definitely am. And I know what it's like to have that broken foot mobility thing, and it's not fun.
No.
It's really not.
Yeah. And now with this event coming up, I'm like, I've been housebound, and there's so much to do.
Yeah. And is there a volunteer sign up that you ever do? I know that there are some websites that have that, where you can, list the specific positions and things like that. Might be something to look into. That
might be a good idea in the future. I did have a friend. My friend Cicely is a teacher, and one of her former students is now a grown woman, and so she helped me last year, kind of distribute posters and just do general logistical stuff on the day, and that was so helpful. So I have her again this year.
Like a day of coordinator. You got to have that.
Yeah, and now with not being able to drive and like go, I'm a hustler, so I like to like pound that pavement and go talk to people and get donations for the raffle and, you know, advertise and put out posters. Like I really enjoy it. So I was not able to do that this year. I'm also a control freak.
Yeah.
Which I'm coming to terms with. I never really would have said I'm a control freak. But when it comes to things like this that I organize, it's really important to me that it doesn't go badly or that I like get all the details that I want nailed down. And because I'm a slightly perfectionist in that way when it comes to that stuff. But so it's hard to give the reins over to other people. I'm like, okay, I need you to do this. But I've learned how to be a good delegator, and I'm getting better at that.
Yeah, I think that's a common theme with artists, that sort of almost OCD level, like desire for control and just wanting everything to be perfect. And when there's so many moving parts with something like this, it's like, how many vendors do you have kind of on average? It's like 30?
It's closer to 100.
Is it really? Wow.
Yeah, it depends on the year because
I was way off.
Well, our parking lot only fits a certain amount of tents, but we encourage buddy booths. So we get kind of twice the bang for your buck in one tent usually. And some of them this year have more, like 3 or 4 artists per tent. So the actual vendor count is larger, but we can only fit a certain amount of tents in the lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like with this event, it's so special, and it just means so much to me. And I don't like, it's like that anxiety of like not being the person that it catches on fire on your shift or something. Like I think about that at Stardust a lot when I was working here more. I was like, oh God, I got up in the middle of the night one night, came over here in my pajamas because I forgot to turn off the dishwasher, or I thought I did. And I didn't. It was off. The doors were locked, lights were off, everything was fine. But it's just that thing, like you wake up and like, oh no, not on my watch.
You've got to have some ownership and accountability. I mean, especially these days, that's the only way things happen, right? You are the person that organizes and executes this event that isn't going to run itself.
Right.
And without that coordination.
It was a 2-person job.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's why I start in July.
That makes sense.
But I love it. I just really do. And I know what it means to the vendors because I was a vendor originally. And it is so validating for artists to set up at a market and people approach them and just love their stuff and buy from them. It's so validating for an artist to have that opportunity. And I remember what that feels like, and I just want it to go well, and I want it to give everybody that opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah. And it always does. You know, that's kind of the thing. It's like once it's the day of and setup happens pretty early in the morning, and often we're here because Gabby knows this parking lot so well.
Oh, God, she has been my angel.
She's amazing, right?
She can organize this lot in her sleep. And that's the main thing day of that gives me the most anxiety.
And it's so natural for her because she does it every Monday, right?
Yeah,
it's like for 13 years now. So she really, really knows this parking lot and maximizes use of the space and all of the things. And it's a good time of year. Usually the weather's pretty good. Gonna knock on wood for that.
Yeah.
It's a rain or shine, obviously, and people show up no matter what. But often we get like really lovely days for it. And you know, people that are in town, just people show up. It's always nice when Casey and JT are here too, and it's kind of like, I hope they're here this year. And I look forward to it for so many reasons, and I know so many people do as well.
Yeah, I was not in Orlando when the original Grandma parties happened, so I would love a time machine to kind of see the difference of what she was like when she was born and what she is now.
I know. I wonder if there are photos of the original events. I'm sure
there are.
Yeah, we've got to
somewhere.
ask Brett about that.
Yeah.
And so, speaking of Stardust and working here, previous to now, when, kind of things slowed down as far as working here went, how many years have you worked at Stardust?
Over 10 years.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I kind of, those COVID years kind of erased themselves in my brain as far as a timeline. So I'm sure there's an extra 1 or 2 years that I need to add.
I just say add 2 years to anything that you think is a timeline. So 12 years. Mm-hmm. All right.
And I have worked this place in every capacity.
Mm-hmm.
I've done the kitchen. I've done the custodial work. I've been a stocker. I've been an order and purchaser, bartender, baker, barista. I love this place.
Yeah, it is special, isn't it? It, like, with its faults and with its imperfections and all of it, it makes it Stardust. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people miss that because they only see the faults, which, they are there. And some of them are glaring, but it's lovely. I mean, it's just so unique and so special.
So prior to Stardust, my customer service experience has always been very corporate things. And like I'm a worker bee, and I am a people pleaser, and I want to do my job the best it can be. And like the Jenna that started at Stardust is a very different Jenna that ended, or that still is at Stardust, I guess. I mean,
I'm so interested in that transformation.
But like this place really broke me in the best way possible.
Yeah.
And like I still am going to give this place my all. I'm still going to, be a great worker and do all the things. But this place lets you be yourself, and you don't have to. Oh, I'm going to cuss again. I'm just going to, I can't.
Just let it out.
The sentence is stuck.
Sometimes
and it's
there's
not going to go away.
There's only one way to say it. Sometimes.
You are not expected to eat shit with a spoon and a smile.
Yeah.
Like, you're just not.
Yeah.
And a lot of times customers are just like, no, here's my shit.
Yeah.
And I'm right. And
it doesn't fly here.
Sometimes they are, and sometimes they're not.
Yeah.
But like this place really broke me out of my shell, and I met all of my people here. Mm-hmm. It changed my life.
Yeah. I would say that we have as well. I mean, between the market and Stardust itself, and just knowing the employees that have been here through the years, and it is that exactly that individual. Each person you get to know who works here because they can be themselves, and it's not. There's no customer service training,
no.
So everybody uses their own style, right?
Right, but like coming from corporate stuff, like you just take the abuse.
Yeah.
And
they tell you to do that, right?
Yeah.
That's part of the culture.
Really
it's the customer is always right.
Yeah. It's just frowned upon to like be yourself and tell the truth, and sell stuff that you are not really into selling. Mm-hmm.
It's a different world out there. And we are at the alcove of Stardust right now. So this experience of recording here is very nice and authentic.
Oh, it's so nice. I've had so many nights of all types in this alcove.
Same. And it's pressure washed, and there's a fresh coat of paint.
Oh, I don't like it.
It's weird, right? It's really...
all the graffiti's gone.
Yeah. It's like a new, fresh start in a way.
Yeah.
But... I mean, maybe we needed that after 2020. Everything is reset a little bit.
Yeah, maybe.
But I do kind of miss some of those, the patina of this place, the character.
It just had such a beautiful grunge to it. And it still does in some. It has so much character.
Yeah.
But man, I just am not into a paint job.
Yeah. I mean, some would say that it needed it. It was overdue, but also it was, and this will become the new Stardust. I mean, it has, that's kind of the thing about it too, is that, when I came here initially, when it was just a video store and they had coffee, and it was like, it was magical in its own way. And, Brett and Catherine were here a lot, and you would chat with them, and it was just like, this is like the counterculture of Orlando. Yeah. This is the center of that experience, and like that was really the main reason that I bought my house in this neighborhood.
Yeah, smart.
Stardust has changed so much over the years, and it has evolved with the times in ways that it needed to. And
what's great is that the neighborhood has grew up and built itself out around Stardust, but Stardust was original, and it hasn't changed, really. Like, it's still... What's that thing that Brett likes to say? Still bohemian after all these years? Like...
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, and Stardust is what you make it, right?
Yeah.
That was what I think Greg maybe had said that. Yeah, and it's very true, because people make it their own, and it's sort of allowed. Like, I've booked some shows here. I actually have this local music merch swap coming up that I'm very excited. I hosted one here before, so there's going to be live music, and then artists who have a bunch of merch from their bands that are no longer bands.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, they bring it just to exchange. So it's sort of like that part is free, and then there's the show, and Tierney's going to play, and Mike Dunn, and Tanner Jones, and so I'm very excited. It's just kind of like, it's been a while since I've organized a show here, and it's very easy to do, because it's just sort of like, okay, do we want seats? Do we not want seats? We need to move stuff. Like, you just really, you have that reign, and it thrives because of it.
Yeah, that is really one of the things that I love most about it. I mean, so it doesn't really have managers.
Right.
And, which is nice.
And that doesn't exist anywhere else.
Right.
Because how could it?
Right. I mean, it's some people have a hard time with it. Some people need, like, they're not self-starters, or they're not good self-managers. But whatever. That's just part of the charm about this place. But you can pretty much Stardust is what you make it. I think that's one of the best slogans for us.
It really sticks. It really, I mean, it just, it nails it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And having that, I think being a self-starter and being motivated and having a good work ethic is kind of key to making it here too, because nobody's going to tell you to restock when it's slow, but it's
until your coworkers get fed up.
Yes.
And then just really let you have it.
Yeah. Or a customer wants to order something that isn't in the beer cooler or, whatever it might be. It's like you have to pull your weight, and there's no manager that's going to be telling you to do that.
And I'm a customer service whore, Mike. I love good customer service.
Yeah.
I want to provide the best customer service. It's just I am a host. I'm a greeter. I love to host. But I really kind of fell into service industry. Yeah. I wasn't planning on staying in it for as long as I did. Yeah. But it suited me so well. And like I'm an introvert. I'm naturally not so outgoing, and I like a lot of quiet time, but I love being in this environment where I can, greet people and just kind of help them hopefully have a great day. Like, I used to love working the barista counter in the morning because I like being that, like, first thing, that morning greeter.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm super dorky about it. But I loved stocking. I love seeing a full beer counter. I love seeing the full bar. Oh, it makes me really happy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can have that level of impact on somebody's day. Like, that's pretty cool. And not everybody can do that. And people that gravitate to this place really do appreciate the difference when you deliver that experience to them too, and that level of service.
Yeah, I just really do like to serve and feed people and water people. It just brings me a lot of joy.
Yeah, I think that your influence over the years has been felt, and I think that we kind of miss it a little bit too. Scone Day was such a thing on
my
Friday
scone
mornings.
heads.
Yeah. You had a cult
cute.
following
really
for
did.
your scones.
That was so fun. I loved that.
Yeah.
I would get a hard time if I was out on a Friday. Like, I missed your scone that day. I'm like, I'm really sorry.
They were very loyal.
I was sick. You did not want that on your scone.
Are you going to bring the scones back? I know Michelle has really taken the reins, and she's done a great job with it.
Yeah, she's a great baker.
Yeah.
I would love to bake here again. It's just a matter of scheduling.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to because I've stepped away from it for so long, I feel weird about coming back, and I don't want anyone to feel like I'm taking away their time or their hours. Like, I don't know.
Well, you should figure out a scone day, perhaps, and bring back the scone heads.
I was doing a lot of home baking over quarantines to try and make money. I ended up being in the kitchen all day.
Yeah.
With just custom baking orders. It was really fun.
And that's a labor of love.
Yeah.
And these are all of the labors that you seek are labors of love, it seems, which seems, it feeds into your soul. And I think that's why, you are the person that you are. And it's so lovely. And just knowing you is such a gift. And I love you.
I love you too.
You're so great.
So are you, man.
And I know, your last name is Caring, and it's maybe a little bit on the nose, but you're just such a caring person.
Thanks. I try to.
I'm sure you've heard that many times, right?
Yeah. That name was made up, by the way.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not really connected with that side of my family, but it's an immigration story. You come over with one name that is very complicated, and they write it down. They're like, nope, let's change that. And
really?
Yeah. At least that's what I heard a long time ago.
Wow. What was the original name?
I have no clue.
Interesting.
Some Italian name.
Okay. I mean, it suits you so well, and I wonder which came first. If it was like you were destined to be this, and this name came with it, or if the name sort of set the tone, and you're like, I need to be a caring person. Like,
I think you're mostly born with it, and then it's nurtured. I asked my mom once if I was like what I was like as a baby, because I'm a generally sunshiny person, and I have a very positive outlook on life, and I'm very hopeful.
Yeah.
Even when there's lots of reasons not to be.
Sure.
That kind of come up.
Yeah.
But she's like, yeah, no, you were always smiling and happy. You were just that kind of kid.
Just in your nature.
Yeah. So, it fit.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like I was partly that way, but also there's like a heaviness, and I've always felt a little disconnected from the world in ways, like I don't quite fit.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of where the artist thing comes from. And, I found music at an early age, and I think that we find these things, like we're just kind of like, I don't fit with the corporate world necessarily, and I have a day job, but like this is more me, and like this is a place where people know the real me, and this is the real me. Yeah. So it's nice to have that authenticity and that that community that really knows you and loves who you are, and you don't have to put on any fronts or anything like that.
Yeah.
And I hope that is. I hope that Stardust is that for a lot of people. I think that it is.
I think it is. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, in my, decade or more of being here, you see it as every so often, like the regulars kind of shuffle, and you have your group that comes all the time, and then some of them either move away or, their life changes and they don't come as much, and then the age bracket changes, and like now we're kind of in this like young phase again, where I feel like a lot of our regulars are really young, and
it's kind of awesome to see.
It's nice. It's always been very counterculture. It's cool. Yeah,
especially when there are live shows here, and you see like kids playing these instruments and doing it well, either writing good songs or covering good songs, and you're just like, and there are kids there to see them too. It's just like, this is good. This is what like needs to happen. This is like a good youth, because I had that, and I know that it's good for them.
Yeah. One of my last bartending experiences here, or at least one of the events before I had to go back to school, was a collaborative show where there was lots of bands throughout the night, mostly young-ish. But the last one was like high school teenage riot girls, and they were so much fun. Most of the night was like, okay, I'm here. Yep, they're doing their thing. That's nice. Don't love it, but I'm glad you're doing it. And it was not like, most of the people that were coming to these shows were not even legal to drink. So it was not a huge moneymaker except for their parents who were here, supporting them and family. And it was just a really fun night. But like seeing those young riot girls at the end of the night, just the whole place was on fire for them. It was really, really exciting.
Wow.
I loved it.
And you never know what it's going to be here. It's like we had planned to record here, and obviously you have some air traffic above us because of the airport. We're kind of in that pathway, but you never know if there's going to be bands or a DJ or, that's kind of the magic.
Or plays. We've had really interesting performances here.
Burlesque shows sometimes for Bastille Day that the Garden District puts together. Yeah, it's a collaborative space, and it just is allowed to be that, and I hope that will never change.
Me too.
Yeah. As we watch some businesses kind of close in the neighborhood, and it's like, this does have its built-in audience, and I think that there are things that sustain it. But one of the things when I started this podcast, I'm like, I need to have Stardust advertised, so they will be a sponsor, even if I'm not getting anything out of it. Just like they just, people need to know. And this place is not for everybody, but it's for so many people.
It's for so many people. And I've had so many nightmares that it closes or that, it burns down, or like I have a lot of stress dreams about this place. And I think that kind of just reminds me how much it means to me. But the thought of Stardust not being here, I don't know where my people would go. Like, where do we hang out?
I know. And, a common theme too is like people that move away and they come back to visit, they almost always say this, that there's no Stardust anywhere that I've traveled.
It's so true.
And
I've traveled a lot, and I know you have too. And we always look for or try to find the places that feel like us. Yeah. But I've never found a place that is Stardust.
Yeah. Every place has managers. just logical, right? It's just good business. Yeah. Except for this. But
even the aesthetic of the place, like if you tried to create it, it would look wrong. Yeah. Like everything here is so haphazard and crooked and just added over time, and it has so much texture, and it's really beautiful. Like it's an art piece. I just love it.
Yeah. And it's owned by an artist too, and he did so much of this handiwork himself. Yeah. Which makes it one of a kind as well. Yeah. And it's a treasure.
I get really gushy sometimes because I'm very sentimental. I texted Brett years ago. It's like, hey, I just wanted to tell you that I just think this place is wonderful, and it's so beautiful, and all the details and blah blah blah. And I was going into all the reasons why it was such a wonderful space. And I was like, thank you for creating. He's like, okay. It's like, thanks.
But it is part of his heart too, and that's a thing that some people miss as well. And knowing him and truly knowing him, like he loves this place so much. Yeah. And it is, I think, very close to exactly what he wants it to be. Even those imperfections, it's just kind of like it's that character, and it's that kind of chaos a little bit, right? And that, but it has purpose. Like it all has purpose, and it all goes somewhere that is like real and sincere, and it's just part of the experience of living here.
And thinking about all the meetings that have happened here. Yeah. Like creative meetings where people are working on projects, and like this is the place where they just, kind of suss everything out. How many really wonderful, beautiful art things have come out of just this place being the support for it?
So many.
It's really nice to think about that.
Yeah, and how many friendships, lifelong friendships that even you and I have, right? And like,
I wouldn't have met you. Yeah. Had I not started working here or coming here, at least.
That's such a sad thought.
Right?
Yeah.
Are you going to get Brett on this podcast?
I have tried. He's afraid of what he might say. Yeah. Because he likes to stir the pot.
He sure does.
And it's not always great.
Yeah. But
it's Brett.
It's always interesting.
I
at
know.
least.
I haven't given up on working him over for it, but
Yeah.
I think that he's like, interview Jenna and Michelle and people that work here. He's like, not me. So we'll see.
Yeah,
We'll
maybe
see.
you'll wear him down. Maybe you just need to give him like a very short, concise, this is what we're going to talk about.
He doesn't want to be boring either, though. I think he listened to a podcast where it was too kind of controlled, and he was like, so he has all these like worries about how he's going to come across.
Sure.
Which
I mean, most people would.
Most people would, yeah. I think it's important to get past that, and I like the challenge of that. I continue to sort of get a little easier with it, and from where I started just earlier this year to now, I feel like my relationships, I've met people that was the first time on the podcast, and I feel like I have like a lifelong bond with them just from having this conversation. And
well, it's a very intimate experience.
It is, and I think that it's one that people want to share and have out there so other people kind of know about them. And it's hard to know how to do that exactly without just like, opening your heart on social media and that sort of thing, oversharing, which, I do some of that for sure.
I mean, we've all fallen into that trap.
Done. Yeah. I've gotten better with it.
Yeah.
But, it's a good way of staying in touch. But anyways, we're meandering a bit, but Jenna, this has been so lovely.
Yeah.
How do people find out about Grandma Party?
Oh, good question. Instagram is a great place at grandma_party. And then we have a Facebook page. We do a website that I'm kind of working on. It is what it is.
At your own pace, right?
Yeah, it's kind of the last source of information.
Okay.
But yeah, so
I wasn't even aware of the website.
Oh yeah. It's a Wix site. It's like one of those free sites. I built it myself, so,
Oh, I'll have to check that out.
So really I'm going to steer people towards Instagram.
Okay.
That's the easiest that's the first line of communication that I usually go to.
And you've been, as you mentioned earlier from friends talking about it, like you've done a really good job curating that, and I'm already aware of some of the things that will be here, and you can make your shopping list just kind of going through that.
I don't want to put too much, but so I think it was my maybe second or third year of organizing when I started the Instagram account, and this is one of the things that Brett and I have gone back and forth on. He's like, I don't like it, like too much information. Why are people going to go? They already like know what's there. I'm like, no. It's just it's the taste of what might be there. Like, there's going to be so much other stuff.
Yeah.
This is not the only thing that these people do, whatever it is that I'm posting. They don't come here
because of the mystery necessarily.
Right.
It's other reasons.
I also want a platform to promote these makers.
Yeah.
Like, this is one of the reasons why I love doing it, is kind of lifting these people, giving them a platform to share their work and hopefully gain a larger following. Because wouldn't it be awesome to make a living as an artist?
Yes.
That would be so incredible.
It's the dream.
It's so hard, though.
It's so hard, but at least making it viable as like a supplement for like, if my art can pay for itself, that's ideal. It's like I do photography a lot, and like, I sometimes get paid for gigs, and usually that money just goes back into gear and like maintenance and stuff like that, which is fine. But yeah, just to support artists in, some of them actually do get to make a living of it, which is magical. And that's the way it should be, to where people continue to do it and can break even or do better than break even.
Right.
Because all artists deserve that for their time, for sure. Well, Jenna, thank you again.
Thank you.
It's been such a pleasure. It's been a while since we've caught up.
Oh, God, it has been too long.
Right? Yeah. Well, we'll see you at Grandma Party. And the date again?
Oh, December 11th. It's a Sunday, always a Sunday, 10 a.m. to 5:30.
Awesome. We'll see you there.
Good.
I love it.
I'll be here.
All right.
Oh,
see you
wait.
soon. Oh, yes.
Are you going to interview people?
Oh, yes. The day of. So Jenna and I were talking about this. I will probably set up in the alcove and do maybe testimonials, kind of voices of Grandma Party.
So if you have come to Grandma Party for years and years and you have a very strong feeling about it and you love it and you want to share that.
Come tell me why.
Yeah.
Find me.
Yeah.
I'm the guy with the blonde kind of, it's not really an afro anymore. It's sort of.
You got a poof going on.
I got a poof at the moment.
Some kind of poof.
Yeah. The long, curly, blonde-haired guy with the beard. That will be me. Well, you'll know me by the microphones.
Yeah.
That'll be pretty obvious.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
We'll see you at Grandma Party.
Yeah, I'll be there.
All right. Thanks, Jenna.
All right. Love you, Mike.
Love you. Bye. Hello, APGD. A neighborhood podcast is brought to you in part by Stardust Video Coffee, Audubon Park's beloved neighborhood cafe, bakery, bar, and meeting place, located at 1842 East Winter Park Road. We're also sponsored by Red Light Brew Pub. Founded in 2005, Red Light is widely known as the source for world-class imports and microbrews, a wide selection of natural wines, plus award-winning beers brewed in-house. A full kitchen is in the works with an amazing menu by Chef Jess Tantalo. Located at 2810 Corinne Drive, please check out Red Light for all things beer and wine and soon food. Our theme song is by Christopher Pierce, and special thanks to Trey Hester for all of his help in making this podcast a reality. We do hope you enjoyed this episode. If so, please click subscribe and leave a review if you'd like. We'll see you next time.